Hello and welcome to Graceful Connections presented by Academy for the Soul. I'm your host, Sophie Bidard, and the co-creator of Graceful Connections, together with Christel Hughes, founder of Academy for the Soul, the online school for intuitive arts. Graceful Connections is an adventure of exploration, discovery, healing, liberation, growth, and truthful expression, which is facilitated, amplified, magnified, and blessed really with grace. As graceful connections are woven between you and our expert speakers, your graceful guides into creating heaven on earth. Every time you join Graceful Connections, not only are you held in the orb of grace and receiving an infusion of grace, but also you claim your willingness to create heaven on earth. And indeed, all it takes is your willingness from a pure heart and with pure intentions. And as your willingness is affirmed, it echoes through the universe. And your intentions are strengthened and answered with clarity, inspiration, empowerment, activation. All that you need to make it true, to make it real, in highest service to the divine and highest good of all. And if at any moment a voice within you asks, who am I to create heaven on earth? Let grace answer and remind you, you are a child of the divine. And creating heaven on earth can naturally be your daily joy. So thank you for being with us and bringing your unique vibration, colors, and energetic imprint, without which the world would be missing. Thank you for answering yes to the calling of grace and for your willingness to create heaven on earth. So let's begin. I invite you to relax, take a few deep breaths, breathing out all that does not belong to this moment. Bringing all your attention, all your presence here and now. We set our intention that our time together, all that is shared in words and beyond the words, all the energies that we call in and flow serve our highest good, our evolution, and be of service to the highest good of all. You can decide to open your heart or open it even more and be ready to receive. And you can decide to open your mind or open it even more and be ready to receive. Remembering your connection to the center, to the heart of the earth. And your connection to the center, to the heart of the universe. So that you are held, both grounded and suspended. You are safe. You can relax. You are ready and open to receive. Now I call the orb of grace from the heart of the universe and place the orb of grace around our gathering, around our group, and each and every one of us. That we be held in grace and infused with grace all along our time together. Let's take a moment to adjust to the purity and the subtle high frequency of grace, allowing it to gracefully dissolve, realign, harmonize, amplify, magnify all that needs to be so. In purest alignment with divine will, in the divine order of grace. And breathe. Beautiful. Now within the orb of grace, I'm delighted to welcome our expert speaker, wonderful master energy healer and spirit communicator, Alicia Power, who invites you to speed up your ascension with the creator beings. Partnering with senior spirit mentors awakens you faster. Let me introduce Alicia if any of you don't know her. Alicia is a master energy healer and spirit communicator, an educator and mentor for healing through the soul field using advanced spirit technology. Alicia has been initiated and trained by creator spirit beings for 30 years. These intense decades of soul training have built numerous partnerships at extremely senior levels of spirit. This has resulted in her holding spirit authority to activate fast change in a person's soul's evolution, soul wound history, and spiritual leadership. Alicia is a regular guest on Consciousness Telesummits, has authored over 20 transformational courses. Her YouTube channel has over 1.4 million views, and her monthly live transmissions from her creator being spirit tutors upgrade your soul light and accelerate your ascension. It is such a blessing to have you with us today, Alicia. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Sophie. Thank you for inviting me. I'm just absolutely thrilled to be here and to be speaking to your audience that I know are advanced souls. So I'm excited to hear what my creator being, these senior beings in the worlds of spirit that I've been playing with and working with for over 30 years, I'm excited to hear what they want to tell your audience and what they want to share with your audience. I'm so excited just to see what's going to happen today.
Absolutely, yes. We're excited too, I can tell you. And I love what you shared with me, Alicia, as we were preparing this gathering, that you shared that your life really is in service to divine higher education. I really love that statement of dedication, of devotion, really. So today we'll tap right into that and enjoy having you share your expertise about how to accelerate our soul awakening. And everyone, Alicia will also lead you in a process to meet your creator being spirit mentor. So you'll be led into a sacred spirit realm, chamber of light, where a creator being is waiting for you to meet with them. So you'll have the chance to ask them questions about your soul, about your life. That's going to be very revealing for sure. And then on Friday, November 10th at 8 p.m. Pacific, we'll gather again with Alicia for a Q&A galore live call. She'll answer your questions of collective interest about the creator beings, how to work with them, how to accelerate one's awakening, how to strengthen one's soul field and upgrade their life. Now, for the moment, let's dive into our exciting and inspiring topic of accelerating our spiritual awakening and ascension. And I'd like to begin with asking you, Alicia, how did you meet with the creator beings?
Yes, it's a kind of an interesting quick story. And I'll start with, just because I know that your audience, they do need to know where this all came from. So, because as spiritually advanced, people who are advanced in their spiritual development, they love to hear the unfoldment of that movement from beginning your awakening to working with super advanced, very high senior levels of the worlds of spirit. Like, what the heck happened there, right? So when I was very young, like 16, I had parents who'd come out of the Second World War, actually. They were European, and they were very Christian and Catholic. And they saw miracles happen. They themselves shouldn't have been alive, either of them, because they were witnessing death all around them in extreme circumstances. They met in London after the war. So during the war, they were right in the thick of it. My mum ended up being transported to Russia. She was from Poland. And as a 14-year-old girl with her little brothers and sisters, and ended up miraculously getting saved out of 2 years in Russian prisoner of war camps, in Siberia, finding their way to Iran, Persia at the time, and then to London. And this is just a quick example of, like, we all shouldn't be here, there's just miracles were just happening all the way. And my father was captured as an officer in the Polish army, and spent 5 years in a prisoner of war camp in Germany, and ended up after the war going to London, where they met, and then they together married, ended up going to this part of the world, my part of the world, which is Australia and New Zealand, and had a big family. So I just wanted to quickly share that. It was like, and my father had moments where he was, for example, in the middle of a field, nobody else around, and a German warplane was coming straight at him, firing bullets, and they missed. He just knew there was a reason for him to be alive. So interesting, like the way that history forms our lives. And at 16, I just want to say they were so aware that the worlds of spirit were looking after them. They're and angels, they're saints, Mother Mary, Jesus, that kind of pantheon, if you like, of the worlds of spirit. They were so aware that that was real. And so I grew up knowing that in the worlds of spirit, something looks after you, something loves you, something looks after you. And that's like a stream of knowledge. And then, at the age of 16, I just remember being at home still with my parents living there. And a brother arrived home. I had many brothers, and one of them arrived home, and the door swung open, and I looked at him and I said to myself, he hasn't found it. And then I said to myself, he hasn't found what? What am I even saying to myself? So a big part of my soul was already searching and already scanning and looking for it. And then within a year and a half, I was at university and learned to meditate. I moved out of home and found a group of people following an incredibly powerful Indian avatar, an Indian spiritual guru from India who had come to the West. And I followed that spiritual guru, Indian guru, for 16 years in deep meditation practice, 6 years in an ashram, committing my life to God in that ashram. And then those ashram households, this was in the West, closed, and we were told to go back out into the normal world. But the commitment, to that God source and to that deep meditation practice and that connection to God source has never left me since those really deep committed years. And then in my early 30s, 31, 32, the worlds of spirit came to me. I had a very strong need to open up my psychic awareness. And very quickly, I've heard recently that, I've mentioned this in a few other talks, that I read somewhere that monks and people who do deep spiritual practice can quite easily open up their psychic interface with the worlds of spirit. And because of these 16 years of deep meditation practice, I was like a fish to water. It was so easy for me to feel the worlds of spirit arriving, having clear dialogues with them. They started to teach me energy healing and energy work. And I became an extension of master energy healers and had clients very quickly, and I was teaching workshops on how to channel and how to hear your spirit guides, and also energy healing, spiritual healing, teaching workshops in those first few years. And after a couple of years, I was on a plane going to run a workshop interstate. And because within those first 2 years, I was very clear in my spirit telepathy, meaning I could hear two-way very easily the worlds of spirit, and I'd be having conversations with them easily. I was sitting on that plane, and I could feel my spirit mentors coming close, and they said, look, we want to introduce you to a new primary mentor. And so this energy arrived as I was sitting there in the airplane. And when I was running workshops, teaching people to channel or teaching people to open up their psychic ability to speak with their spirit guides, I was always teaching them to interview whoever it is that would arrive. Ask them if they were bona fide, ask them if they're from the light and love, ask them where they are from, ask them to show you the vibrations and the frequencies and the communities that they're from. Interview them and ask them what they want to teach you and how they are going to mentor you. So my very first moment with this new mentor was, who are you and how are you going to work with me? And so immediately this being was saying, well, I am a creator being, and I oversaw the development and the ideation of this universe. And so that was new for me. And and the very first client that I had, normally I'd be channeling my guides and allowing my guides to heal, my one-on-one personal customers and clients that were coming to me for energy healing. But this new mentor was with me, this new energy, and this new being said to ask the client on the healing table, what is it that you most want to create in this physical lifetime? And both the client and I kind of went, well, that's an interesting question. That's a very high authority question. It was almost as though this being was asking the soul, we want to commit to helping you create what you want in this physical lifetime. And so the kind of a upgrade and the change of who it was that I was working with from that point onwards, it kind of demonstrated to me the acceleration. But not only that, as an energy healer, I was already used to being shown by the worlds of spirit the etheric body, the soul field, and the light body, and how these spirit teams of technicians would weave and cut and splice and vacuum out and download new codes, light codes, and change the configuration of an auric light body. And when I began to work with this overseer being, and when their energy arrived to work with the aura of a client, that was a very different moment. I could see higher and higher octaves of light bodies, soul fields of that customer being looked at and scanned, their Akashic records, their soul history, the trajectory and story of their soul, even before any human existences, was being learnt. They were scanning and learning about it and understanding it for the purpose of propelling the soul forward and accelerating it in this lifetime, accelerating its ability to see itself as a soul, accelerating its awakening and its remembering, accelerating even the soul field itself to hold higher and higher light, so that even though that soul incarnated in this human body and in this lifetime, that with this extra height of spirit authority arriving, the soul could even develop and grow in its quotient of light in what it was as a soul, even as this person was incarnate as a human in this lifetime. So the soul itself, its development, could blossom further than it was originally, even when it incarnated in this human existence. So it was kind of mind-blowing, and I got used to it. And this being, this mentor, worked with me for 10 years, traveling into my Akashic records, traveling into my soul, finding my soul wounds. Because of this being's high authority, they could find some of the deepest, most traumatic soul wounds in my soul history. And not just, well, I'll just start, talking about like really big soul wounds from Atlantis, from times when our soul made choices which were mistakes or errors, or we were influenced by shadow, and it caused enormous disruption of some kind, and it created a huge sort of gaping wound in that soul history. And so these really big interactions with shadow were scanned, understood, looked at. And because of that high authority of this mentor, this being could, from its authority, go to these places and look at what kind of shadow, what levels of shadow had interacted, and close those gateways, change the contracts, delete the contracts, delete some of those lineages of shadow. A lot of work ended up getting done, and all of it to create deep stability in myself as a soul, so that as I walk and talk as a human, I've got strength of light, and that strength doesn't have huge gaps and holes where shadow can come in from very ancient lifetimes and influence. See, what we're talking about is etheric light. So shadow light can enter from an old ancient wound as light. It's like a kind of breeze, it's like a wind can come in and shape realities in your life, in your hologram, change the way you think about yourself, create inertia in your life, create doubt and hesitation in your life, trip you up. All of these things can happen from that cold wind, from shadow coming in from very, very ancient wounds. And especially when someone wants to step forward in this full soul fulfillment in this lifetime and full soul expression. So shadow is kind of generic, and it's always looking for someone who wants to explode in their light and shine their light wider. And it's just like software, and that's how it's coded. It just wants to find light and dim it down. And that's why it's important to have high authority beings of light, technicians who've got the capability and the ability to find all these occlusions and all these kind of wounds is the best way to mention it, is, and to find them in that soul history that goes back way, 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 way back, even way beyond any human lifetimes, where we existed as a being in the worlds of spirit. So just quickly mentioning here how this being was working with me for the first 10 years, and then teaching me how to work with a creator being. It's like, because there's capabilities that the creator being has that unless they teach you how to work with them, you kind of don't even use their capability because you don't know. And one of the capabilities is reality shifting. And one of the very powerful things that this being started to teach me was how to, quote unquote, instruct a creator being. So it's not so much commanding, and it's not praying, it's instructing. And there's a few subtle dynamics around that. And one of them is a moment of fearlessness. So you're not in doubt or hesitation or fear or any of those resonances. You're just in relaxed warrior mode, like a warrior clarity, I call it. So you're in comfortable awareness of your own power in that moment. You see yourself almost as an equal, as a partner in changing the quotient of light in this physical dimension, which we're all on that journey. And in a moment like that, to instruct a spirit partner who's got vast capabilities. So that's the simple dynamic and simple, beautiful kind of flow of energy between you and a creator being. So there's humility there, but there's sitting comfortably in your own power in that moment. And also, as many of you know, watching this, a sense of presumption and anticipation that it will take place, because it's that beautiful future pacing, knowing that there's a capability here to make the change. And when we sit in a knowing like that, that these creator beings have their hands on the fabric of reality as creator beings, and they are willing to partner, and also, and this was the critical thing actually, why they even bothered showing me and teaching me how to instruct them, was because these creator beings, I forgot to mention, are from outside our universe, because they sit above the universe as mentors of the universe, but they're not inside the game, if you like, of shadow and light. They're outside it, which is really, really important. And their motivation for bringing their light for the very first time into the physical dimension, into the density of where we all live as humans, that kind of denser dimension of the third dimension. Their motivation was to find humans, that's all of you, that's me, who would instruct them to make changes. And the reason is because they're not allowed to do it on their own. They need the free will of humans, so that a human is asking them and instructing them to make the change. So it's engaging our free will, our hearts, our consciousness, our love. So they need the partnership of us humans to make changes. And that's very, very important. And just mentioning, we're going to talk about a training that's going to be made available at the end of this talk. And in one module in one of those courses, there's an entire 1 hour, 1.5 hour training on how to instruct creator beings to make global changes, which is highly significant. And I know every one of you, soul looking at me right now, is thinking to themselves, oh my goodness, that will be important to learn. So the words, the instruction, the formality of the words, all of that helps spirit beings hear you more clearly, like the format or the formality and some of the words that are chosen to be used. So yeah, so that's why these creator beings have arrived. I'm talking about they, because after about 10 years, this creator being that I initially worked with, and oh my goodness, he pulled me up. This being, I say he, it's a vast layer of consciousness, pulled me up by my bootlaces, just pulled me up in light, pulled me up out of being anchored in shadow somewhere down there in that soul history, cleaned it up, strengthened me, taught me how to work with them, taught me how to get used to the height of light. I call it auric fitness. So it just taught me so much, taught me how reality works, taught me how the heart generates our hologram, taught me how to use emotion and feeling from the heart to change realities, taught me a lot about shadow, showed me what shadow was, because I felt so safe. And because these beings, again, are outside that game of shadow and light, and their power and authority over shadow, their ability to delete it, literally. I felt so safe kind of sitting in the arms of that type of mentor who's then pointing out what shadow is to me and pushing me into moments where I have to look at it. And then I debrief with that level of mentor. And over time, felt and experientially gained knowledge and deep understanding of what shadow is, its capabilities. It's a vast thing. It's not a small thing. And I'm so grateful that these creator beings have arrived and added their light to me, to many other people, hundreds and hundreds of people who now work with them and dialogue with them and instruct them and are healed by them and walk with them every day and use recorded, I call it elevators, to go up and spend time looking at them and talking with them and asking them for acceleration and asking them for changes in realities. And so it's not just me. And these creator beings often say to me that they are looking for souls who want to work with them. They're looking for souls who have a deep longing to awaken faster, cleaner. I always say cleaner, like to start working on some of those very deep ancient wounds, soul wounds, and to clean up, to strengthen. And not only that, but to begin adding creator being light to their soul bodies, to their soul fields, because creator being light is very different. It's very powerful. It's a level of spirit intelligence. It's a level of spirit software that is incredibly impactful. So when that light connects with your auric soul bodies, your auric fields, your auric energy bodies, it's not only is it intelligent, but the speed with which it deletes wounds and all of it is integrated. There's nothing sort of left hanging unintegrated. So they're very impeccable. They know what they're doing. They're high expertise. They understand human auras. And that light, when they put their attention on you and start to go into your aura and start to make changes really fast, it's fast. That's the key word here. So, and this is one of the big reasons why people who want to awaken quickly put their hand in the hand of a creator being and show up frequently in front of them, give them permissions to increase their quotient, their light quotient, but also give these beings permission to go into their auras and scan and start cleaning and healing their soul, their auric fields and their Akashic records, and then adding that type of light into the aura, which in itself is a highly evolved, trying to find the human words here, is a highly evolved light. So what it does is it switches on light bulbs inside of you. It just switches on remembering. It switches on reconnection to yourself as soul. It switches on, grafting of your higher soul bodies down into your human auras so that you begin to walk and talk as that soul. And that experience is not a theoretical experience. You can't think about it because it begins to happen as a gift from the higher realms. That grafting of your higher soul fields down into your human aura fields that are connected to this human lifetime, and the merging of those so that you walk and talk as that soul, so that that soul sits in that human self, looks out of the eyes and picks up from where it left off, right? It picks up its role of why it arrived, its agenda. It grabs that piece of paper and goes, okay, what was my agenda again? Oh yeah, right. It's this, right, let's go. Because now it can lean back on that strength of that light of these creative beings. Not only that, but their commitment and alignment with you as a force to be reckoned with of light, their alignment with your soul and its agenda, so that your soul reveals itself and begins to shine and action what it came here to do. So I think what I'm saying here is there's a shortcut. I quite often say I'm an Aries and I love shortcuts. And yeah, and this really suits me because this is such an accelerated shortcut to, I call it awakening, to remembering, but it's visceral, it's real. It's not just an idea, it's not just a nice thought. And because the software is changing in you. So because many of you are energy healers that watching this. And so I'm just going to say right up front to you all, you know that all you are is a cohesive collection of light waves. That's all you are. And those light waves hold codes and data. Quantum physicists even know this. It's been known for a very long time. So every sine wave, every light wave has nearly unlimited capability of holding software and codes, data, in the form of light. And that's what we are. So these beings are beyond experts in changing that code, upgrading that code, instructing that code, helping us as sentient conscious beings, us humans, you know, who rely on our thoughts and our logic, helping us kind of lurch forward and become those angelic beings manifest here. Clarity. They just love the word clarity. That's what I'm saying is like clarity is not something you're talking about. Clarity is not even something you're thinking about. Clarity is a force of power, of light that's coming through you. And they're telling me to say this right now. It's like a fire hydrant. It's so powerful, a force of light. That's, to them, that's clarity. And you can't even wrap words around that. And that is what they're talking about. They're talking about light waves. They're talking about spirit intelligence in those light waves. They're talking about upgrading that spirit intelligence to not just from here to here, but here to like really high. And that begins to run you. And the steps to get there is exposure. In Sanskrit, in India, beautiful ancient traditions, 5,000-year-old traditions in India that I love. And remember, I followed an Indian guru for 16 years. So in India, they've got traditions that they understand frequency and resonance. And one of the traditions is called Diksha, Deekshasha. And Diksha is what I call exposure to a frequency. Before I was initiated into connecting to God Source through this Indian guru, I spent one whole year and more sitting in satsang. Satsang is another Sanskrit word which means company of truth. It's someone speaking at the front of the room and literally channeling God Source, actually, and everybody in the room drinking that. The room filling with gold light, God Source being present because it's being focused on by the speaker and by everybody on the room. Everybody's attention is on God Source. And so for over a year before I got initiated, I had to sit in that and soak in that resonance. And gradually throughout that year, I changed and I began to understand what it was that I was sitting in the presence of before I got initiated into the meditation techniques to go directly into connection in those meditation techniques with God source. So Diksha is exposure to intelligence, a energy, a frequency, and it changes you. It grows you up, it upgrades you. And so the method to work with these creator beings is exposure to their frequency. And I provide many recorded journeys, inner journeys, to go up, carefully designed, totally channeled by them, to go up and stand in front of them and be with them and talk with them and ask them questions. We're going to do that in a moment in a live process here. So exposure to their frequency, having conversations with them, asking them to help you, giving them permissions to upgrade your light, exposure to their frequency, to their light. And that changes you. So I'm pinpointing the steps, the how to change with this frequency, how to use it. Diksha. I'm just thinking, yeah, Sophie. I think I did tell my story.
I think you did. And what a fascinating journey, what a fascinating story, and what a fascinating invitation for us as well. I want to make a couple of comments before asking you questions to share about how we can work with them, work with the creator beings. First comment is about how, when you mentioned how they are not only able but willing to bring global change. What I heard, just as you were saying global change, I heard glorious change, and it made me laugh a little bit. It made me giggle because it feels so good and so right. Yes, this is about glorious change. That's the nature, that's the amplitude of those global change that we're all about. And here in Graceful Connections, in this second edition, we're all about creating heaven on earth. So this is such a wonderful match, such a wonderful fit. And I love this invitation to let's partner together in the intention of glorious global change. So that was my first comment. I loved hearing that as you were speaking and as I was hearing in the background. The other thing is about how so there's this invitation, there's this partnering with them by giving them instruction. What I loved hearing especially is that they are looking for humans who are willing to partner with them, who are willing to instruct them, who are willing to work with them, to play with them, to grow with them, to bring forth those glorious changes at the global level as well as at the individual level. So I think I found it really important for all of us to hear it, that if anybody has a doubt, or I don't know if what I can do can make a difference, well, we are called and they are waiting for us, right? They are calling us. So thank you for bringing this calling, for being their voice, inviting us to step up. And I can see how the way to make this happen, now that's the perfect transition to what the wonderful offering that you've created, the package that you've put together for Graceful Connection, Soul Awakening Acceleration. It's the perfect way for us to connect with them and to raise our hand, to say, to claim our willingness, but not only to claim our willingness and raise our hand, but to get on board and get started working with them, playing with them, and creating these glorious global changes and personal changes. So I think it's a wonderful time before we get into experiencing meeting with the creator beings. Let's get into discovering this wonderful offering you've created, Alicia, for us, Soul Awakening Acceleration. So for everyone to follow, you can go to gracefulconnections.com/Alicia2, or simply scroll down the page to discover Alicia's special offer. Alicia, please reveal what you've put together for our audience with this package.
Well, I am absolutely thrilled and honored to present these two big and powerful courses, impactful on your life, both of them. The very first course that I'm going to introduce, let's just quickly talk about an overview. There are two courses here. One of them is an incredible deep dive into who are these creator beings. Module by module, you'll be taken deeper and deeper into experiencing them, receiving their creator being light and incredibly powerful light infusions from them, and overviews and explanations of this universe, how it was designed, and the story of shadow and light in this universe, and why these creator beings arrived. So that's one course, and I'll go into it in a moment, called Creator Being Acceleration. Just incredible, very, very powerful modules. And the other course that really is a giant of a course, where it's called Spirit Tutor Connection. And it's module after module, you are taken in to moments with high councils of light, with high authority spirit mentors that you stand in front of, and spirit tutors that are your own personal tutors that arrive from light years to be with you in this moment as you are in each of these modules. And as you move through the modules, you are taught how to work one-on-one with a spirit tutor to fulfill your life purpose in this lifetime, how to talk with them about your soul evolution, how to ask them the right questions and the right instructions. So let's take a look at Spirit Tutor Connection. It really is a giant of a course, I have to tell you. Within these modules, you are very gently taught how to hear them. So that part, that telepathy part, is tweaked and gently massaged. And as you're listening to my voice in these channeled courses and trainings and workshops, the worlds of spirit arrive live and stand around you and help you where you're putting your focus as you are standing in front of a spirit being, how to feel your spirit being standing there in front of you. And then as you're starting to ask your spirit guide questions, how to gain confidence and trust in an instant impression or an instant feeling flow that comes back to you. So the spirit world is dialing, is kind of, their hands are on the dial of your consciousness, helping you feel them, helping you comprehend and understand what they're sending back to you. So moving from module to module, that is always worked with. But not only that, there's extra amazing trainings on how to use your spirit guide in this lifetime. Okay, so different angles, so many different angles on that. So I just want to quickly read just a bit of an overview here. While you're doing these workshops in Spirit Tutor Connection, your spirit tutors carefully reveal your depth of power as a soul. They teach you to clear and heal your own auric field so you feel lighter. They unveil vast ranges of knowledge that at the moment you can't even fathom. You'll discover how to let go and surrender into higher knowledge as you're standing in front of them. You'll hear your guides more clearly. You'll get practice at that with their help live. They'll be there with you live. And you will learn how to partner with them for fast growth. And you'll begin to learn how to uncover new realizations that before were eluding your logic. You'll learn how to expand your trust until it gets used to surrendering to higher intelligence flow. So this is such a powerful course. The very first module, you get to meet your high authority spirit tutor. You're coached how to let go of doubt. You do have a beautiful light infusion, an upgrading light infusion in the middle of that. And within every single one of these modules, there is healing, there is light upgrades. Not so that they're just packed. Every one of these, by the way, is about an hour and a half. So it's a substantial, juicy, chewy course that I just highly recommend, because why else has your soul arrived here in this physical dimension? It needs to connect with its spirit mentors. It needs to start to understand what that time in front of your spirit mentors means and its potential. So this is the course. I've walked this for 30 years, right? I've been in my inner world with them for 30 years. So this is a revealing of that process of standing in front of your guides, what they've taught me, how to work with them. Module 2, accelerate your soul evolution. The time spent in front of your spirit tutors, that's your soul evolution time. Discover that beauty of instant communication, the specific way your spirit dialoguing takes place. How to logically assess that instant communication, that instant knowing flow, how to harvest that information coming from your spirit tutor. Discover the soul acceleration training that you'll begin to receive from your spirit tutors. Examples of questions to ask your spirit tutors that will propel you forward into your soul evolution. So much there. I'm just quickly pulling out a few different points. Module 3, your spirit tutor is a vast resource. Oh, goodness, there's just so much here. And I just do want to recommend everyone that you just slowly read every line, because every line hits you between the eyes. It's like it's worth doing this slowly and reading slowly, because every single line is just beyond incredible. In this module, learn more about the mechanics of how communicating with the worlds of spirit works, how your imagination works with spirit helpers in directing subtle energy, how the spirit world changes your world on request from you, how spirit helpers can immediately change your state and your thinking. And this is only module 3, with included in there is advanced soul development. Be guided into an important moment with your advanced spirit tutor. And also part of that journey is enjoy a powerful moment with Mother Earth and learn her deepest longings and needs. There are incredible journeys in every module where your spirit tutor is showing you things and teaching you deep penny drops about who you are as you're witnessing something. Sophie, did you want to say anything?
No, I'm just listening to you and drinking your words and kind of seeing the course happening and all the treasures that, yeah, I'm just
absolute treasures, absolute
yeah.
treasures. This is module 4 is they're all incredible, and they sequentially move from one incredible to the next even more incredible. So it just keeps going. So module 4, the title that was given by the spirit world to this module, to this 1.5 hour workshop, is Maturing Your Soul. Your part, quote, your part in this relationship is active. This makes all the difference with the speed with which you evolve. Your activeness in this relationship. So in this module, your spirit mentors are going to assess your longing. They're going to scan it for power, for fearlessness, for fortitude, for clarity. And they're going to, they're going to decide as they assess your soul longing, how quickly they can resculpt your consciousness so it can manage greater power and freedom from deep in your core. Can all of you hear how important this relationship is? So your spirit mentor, as they're standing in front of you, are going to scan you. How quickly you can travel, how quickly you can accelerate. What can you handle as you're on this incredible ride, on this train? How fast can this train go? These beings are master energy technicians who do have the spirit love authority to rewire and upgrade the way you think, feel, and who you become in this lifetime. In this particular training, meet a helper, someone who can read your mind, heal your soul, and begin to strengthen you on this journey of life. There's so much there. There's so many bullet points there. Let's move to module 5. This is an awakening to you as an eternal spirit being, module 5. Returning, quote unquote, returning to the knowing that you are a spirit being frees you up from fear, from being disempowered. It takes you into self-knowledge and self-realization. Returning to that remembrance that you are a spirit being. So this module 5 is beyond powerful. In this one session alone, you receive all the tools to change your life permanently. I'm trying to sort of find something just to read out. In this module, you're going to learn how your spirit tutors transform your inner platform, how your spirit tutors activate a deeper recognition of yourself, how to use the layers of specialization in the spirit world, how your spirit tutors' training of you are experiential and why this is important. None of this is theory. Why you sometimes fall asleep when working with these spirit tutor processes. Why it's important to stay awake during these spirit tutor trainings if possible. You're going to receive an exquisite highlight activation and infusion to prepare for meeting a high authority spirit tutor. You're going to experience with your spirit tutor a soul assessment moment. And you're going to discover different ways that they can communicate with you. And you're going to enjoy training in delivering clear instructions for your soul growth in this lifetime. Training in delivering clear instructions. Wow. And you're going to receive a powerful, life-changing agreement moment with your spirit tutor. Module 6. The focus of this workshop is upgrade your destiny. Can you hear how this is just going from one potent shifting of your soul to the next? Quote unquote, the quiet time you have in front of your spirit tutor is the key to your destiny in this lifetime. And this is one of my favorite quotes from this particular module. Excuse me. Quote, there's a lot to learn about walking forward into more light and higher light. These sessions, these workshops are about learning how to hold that hand as you progress easily, faster, and safely into your higher destiny. So everybody imagine, if you're in some kind of a spaceship, a little tiny little spaceship module that you're in, and it starts to go into G-force and shaking because it's going so fast. So this is the training on how to upgrade your destiny and how to handle that speed with holding the hand of your spirit tutor so that they can heal you as you're traveling. They can stabilize you. They can tell you what's going on. They can very, very quickly heal any uncomfortable shifts, maybe. Not that that necessarily has to happen. But I'm just saying that's what this particular module is about. So it's about a higher learning curve, learning how to ask for it, learning how to upgrade your destiny with working with your spirit tutor, how to communicate with your spirit tutor to awaken faster, how to manage the speed of change after your request, how it feels after you've moved through an upgrade shift. Intriguingly, why is destiny flexible when working with your spirit tutor? Okay, so that is so interesting, like right there. If you're standing at a crossroads, which direction are you going to choose? Because destiny is flexible when working with your spirit tutor. Oh my God, there's just so much. There's so much power here, right? There's so many how-tos. There's just so much knowledge. And I quite often mention to everybody, by the way, to repeat all of these modules regularly, because every time you repeat them, it's a brand new moment, and your spirit tutor arrives live and works with you where you're at in any moment that you show up. Just saying. Module 7, the title of this module is Soul Longing Drives Your Acceleration. So incredible. There's an interesting training in this particular module, and it's about how to use your attention in the moment when you're with your spirit guide. How to modulate your attention and why that's important. And so, yeah. And it is connected to your soul hunger in that moment. The worlds of spirit feel feelings more than they read thoughts and your logic. So soul hunger is everything for them. It's like touching a cake to see if it's ready in the oven. That's what they're looking for in our soul hunger. And the beauty is that we run around in our human self life. We're busy, we're occupied on the outside. But deep inside of us is our soul hunger. And if that soul hunger is coming to the fore, right? If it's starting to tap us on the shoulder all the time and saying, oh my God, I've just got to stop and read a soulful book or watch someone speaking from spirit because I'm hungry. You know, that's an indicator that this lifetime matters. You're starting to recognize this lifetime matters. You're starting to prioritize it. You're starting to push it forward as the most important thing in your life. And this is what your spirit mentors and spirit tutors are trying to assess all the time. How important is awakening to you? Out of 100, out of a 10, whatever. So everyone, have a read of the bullet points in module 7. Quite incredible. A lot of fine tuning as we move from one module to the next, more and more fine tuning on how to work with your spirit tutor to integrate acceleration, how your spirit tutor can shortcut learning curves, a moment of exploring your soul goal in this life, how to change your life paradigm with your spirit tutor. So much. I love this quote. The result of all this, on the inside, you're going to get smarter. You won't be pulled into drama as much. On the inside, you will hold yourself more sacred. They will mature you into how you look after yourself as a being of light. Love that. Yeah. Modulate sacred moments with your spirit tutor. So in this module, beautiful connection process with your spirit tutor. Again, every single time it goes deeper. So learn more about the real power of this profound relationship. Why moving into your inner soul training is a huge relief for you. Learn about letting go of control to access information more, to access spirit tutor telepathy better. Wow, why your spirit tutor needs your moments of decision. So important. Why? Why does your spirit tutor need your moments of decision? In this particular one, you're going to learn some auric shadow energy clearing techniques, some very deep exercises to practice working with your spirit tutor, and again, a profound inner journey that will take you very, very high, and you'll discover yourself as an ancient soul. Module 9, the last one, this is absolutely profound. How asking for help actually works, which sounds so simple, but actually it's kind of, that's the leverage point. That's the gear change, asking for help. And a quote from that is, these spirit tutors are vast scientists of light waves. They know how to switch off your fear, and they do this precisely. And so this whole module is about asking for help, but you're asking for help not vaguely into the darkness of the worlds of spirit, into the vague quantum ocean of energy. You're asking for help from a master light technician who's standing in front of you. And their precision of what they do next changes you, all right? So in this module, what is the most effective way to activate help from spirit? Is this real? How your body reacts to when a spirit mentor shifts you. Other ways that your spirit tutors can practically, in being practical, how they can help you. Lots and lots. I'm just reading through some of these bullet points. There's a deep fear release and a joy enhancement process in this particular module. A deep infusion and communion of light and love. In this module, I describe what your spirit tutors see in your aura when you ask for help, and a beautiful process of releasing unconscious blocks in this final module. Yeah, and the final quote is, jump into the processes with your spirit tutor 100%, put 100% attention in there, because that is where the value is, with your 100% attention. So it's way below your logic. When you're threading a needle, I just want to quickly say this, you can't do it when you're distracted. My spirit tutors are asking me to say this. When you're threading a needle, you've got to put aside all the distractions and focus on where you're putting the thread through the needle. No, they're actually saying exactly the same when you're in front of a spirit tutor. You've just got to step away from everything and put 100% focus in that moment, because that is where the value is. That's where the exchanges are. The truth is spoken. That's where you receive their downloads and their knowledge and the changes and their permissions and their switches and shifts for you. There's a huge clue there, guys. All right. Creator being acceleration. I'm going to move through this one pretty quickly. This module by module takes you deeper and deeper into your connection with the creator beings. In every single one of these modules, there'll be a journey where you end up, except for the first one, which is an intro to them, but it's a very important one because it introduces the concept of spirit authority and how that can work with you, how you can reach for it to make changes, what that is. So module 1's very important, but the rest of the modules, very important, module by module, different angles of how to work with the creator beings. Healings, light infusions. One of the light infusions was predicted for eons and eons in the worlds of spirit. That is in one of these modules. I mean, I'm talking about beyond powerful. And all of them are designed to accelerate you. So these are pressure cooker workshops with creator being light, exposure to this light, deep 1.5 hour workshops where you get infused with their light and it changes you and upgrades you. Every single one of these is just beyond powerful. So you receive their light, you're learning about them. Module 3, how to change the world with creator beings, how to learn the sacred wording that helps these creator beings even hear you, hear your instruction for global change. Really key, pivotal skills you're going to be learning through every single one of these. How to use your heart, module 4. This is one of the most important trainings of your life, because you've got a heart, it's got resonance, it's magnetic. And in module 4, they teach you how to use it and move you through practices and trainings. Module 5, they start talking about light, their light, creator being light frequency. How is it different? So sticking your nose and your attention into creator being light. Remember, I was talking about Diksha and exposure to that light and how it changes you. Module 6, everything is love, the new love shift. And this is the eons predicted upgrade of soul software, of light. And it really takes you into an experiential realization of the, I was going to say, like the membrane of love that we exist in. It's like a membrane. Yeah, and how that works, and that the love that is sitting in this membrane that surrounds us, how to connect with it, how to merge with it, how to become one with it. Creator being light. Module 7 is a module that many people purchase this particular course just for module 7. How light and dark battle for this universe, the big backstory of light and shadow of this universe. The creator beings asked for me to include this lecture in this collection, as it completes the story about them in a lot more detail. They reveal the high story of your soul, how this reality manifests, who controls this universe, and it's a conversation that will reveal knowledge from reaches of light that lie above our spirit universe, from levels of love that gave permission for all universes to exist. So as souls, we don't often hear terminology from levels of love that give permissions for all universes to exist. Our mind doesn't stretch normally to that kind of an idea. When you start working with creator being light, you start realizing that it's real, and when it touches you, it changes you. Especially if you're an energy healer, you'll notice the change. So many people are emailing me, letting me know how their lives are changing, how they're upgrading super fast, like jumping in an elevator. Just letting you know, everybody, this is real. This is not an imagination thing. As an energy healer, I've been working with it for 30 years, right? Touching the etheric texture of this light. So how light and dark battle for this universe, the moving story of your high soul's agenda, why it came into the physical dimension, why your high soul came into the physical dimension, Mother Earth's role in the dynamic between light and shadow, how we as sentient beings learn and choose what the original state of Earth was, what the original dynamic of light and shadow in our universe was, how the universe was originally designed. And we talk about the being that thought up the idea of this universe, how shadow evolved into a real danger to light, and what to do in a moment of fear to change your world, your whole world, and so much more. They are the bullet points of module 7. Thank you, Sophie, for letting me elucidate these very, very important trainings.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you. Okay, let me start. A few things I want to bring. Let me start with wrapping up. So wrapping up, and everyone, you have all the details, and do go, there's so much you want to read. As Alicia said, you want to read every word and to really absorb that, drink them as I've been drinking them, listening, but there's so much more. Make sure to go to the special offer page and see all the details for each module. So in this package, Soul Awakening Acceleration, you have two options. Option 2 is the 7-module, the Creator Being Acceleration, the one that Alicia just talked about, right? 7-module course, powerful, life-changing immersions in Creator Being training and healing. And option 1 includes this Creator Being Acceleration plus the 9-module, 9 treasures of Spirit Tutor Connection, in which you're one-on-one with your Spirit Tutor and go through all this training, right? So option 1 is the full package with the 2 programs included. Option 2 is the Acceleration, Creator Being Acceleration program. Before I ask you a couple of practical questions on how to work with this, I want to share something more personal that I have personal experience with working with you, Alicia, as I mentioned to you, and working with the Creator Being, Creator Beings. A few years back, I did purchase and started working at the time with one of your programs. And these last few days, as we were preparing this gathering together, coming together, I was remembering the moment I started, and the metaphor that came to my attention to convey this, how that moment was for me, is the metaphor is, you know, when you're a child and you learn to ride the bicycle, and you're kind of doing it, but you're a bit wobbly on your bike, and you know how you're supposed to do it, but you're so full of doubts, and you just don't know, you don't have the muscles, and you lack the balance, and at one moment, let's say that your grandfather, for me it was grandfather's hand comes behind you and place itself, the hand, on your back and gives you a gentle push. And in this push, here is the acceleration. And with this hand on your back and this acceleration, you are no longer wobbly. You get it, and you get on tracks. You find your balance, you find your momentum, and there you go. And for me, it was such a delicious moment to remember this hand on my back, that it's not only the hand and the push, it's all that is conveyed through this hand, all the love, all the encouragement, all the empowerment, all the silent or maybe even verbal saying, you can do it. I trust in you. I know you can do it. I believe in you. And for me, I thought that was the perfect metaphor of remembering that moment when I started the program with the Creator Beings. That's what happened to me. So I wanted to share this moment because it was really a delicious experience, and all that unfolded from there is a whole story in itself. But I felt that it was important to share this moment and the significance of this, since we're talking acceleration.
Just making me feel emotional, because that really is exactly wow, just the providing the stability, the safety, the acceleration, the encouragement, the I trust you, you can do this, the love, not only that, but exactly what you were saying is, I know you, you know me, I'm your grandfather, you're my grandchild, we love each other. So there's just a moment of love there. Oh,
Mm.
Sophie, you could not have used a better analogy, really. That's just so blissful. I just love that. Oh my gosh. I
And
love
you
it.
know, and thank you for commenting on it, because as I hear you, I'm being shown how, so there's this moment at the beginning, which, by the way, it's not grandfather getting on the bike and saying, I'm going to ride the bike for you, right? It's a whole different story. But there's this moment at the beginning, but there's every other moment when getting into a whole new project or a whole new initiative or a whole new phase of personal and spiritual growth, it's going to be the same. It's going to operate the same, right? And so I guess it gives a taste of the nature of the partnership that we engage in. You were talking earlier about the partnership that we engage together. That's the nature of it, and that's how it unfolds, how it starts and how it unfolds in later phases of this partnership. So that was a delicious sharing. Now let's get to a few let's get to a few questions. Let's get practical. Sometimes we need to get kind of be basic and practical, but it's important. So for those who are interested and who want this double acceleration, right, with the full package, spiritual connection and creator being acceleration, how do you recommend to work with these two programs? Is there a sequence? Do we start with the creator beings, meeting with them, and then we go connect with our tutor? Or do we do the opposite? Do we do in parallel? Or is it a personal curriculum that the creator beings will let us know how to do it? Do you have a recommendation for that?
You know, it is such an important question, especially knowing the kind of audience that you and Christel have in Academy for the Soul. I'm so in deep honoring of all of you audience, you know, watching this and listening to this, because you guys are already learning, already training, already hungry, you know, you're on your way, you're on your path. And I'm mentioning a type of light that can accelerate you, that can speed up your remembering. Let me just pause for a moment, because it's a great question. It's just such a practical question. Won't be a moment. You know, they immediately are saying to honor who you are as a soul, each one of you. If you haven't connected with the worlds of spirit easily before, if it's new for you with spirit telepathy, they're recommending jumping into spirit tutor connection first. If you are an energy healer, for example, who your intuition, your spirit telepathy is open really, really well, and you're wanting that acceleration immediately, then move straight to the creator being acceleration package. And then you can treat spirit tutor connection as the fine-tuning of your journey with the spirit mentors that you meet and connect with. So it is, you know, spirit tutor connection, every single one of those modules and workshops is a fine-tuning on how to work with advanced high authority, senior authority beings and creator beings, how to use them for your soul acceleration. Like, there's a lot of detail in that. It's not just vague, hey, accelerate me. I mean, you'll have a moment where you'll actually give them permission to do that, but the doing of that every day, you know, and how you're changing and coping with the change, and the need for the next stage and the next stage and the next stage, that's where spirit tutor connection comes in, because that detail, the fine tuning of holding that hand, how to have those conversations, that's what spirit tutor connection is. So If you're super advanced with your spiritual telepathy, jump into creator being acceleration, connect up with the creator beings, connect up with that life, that light source, that light source, that high authority, creator being level, light source, right? And then jump into spirit tutor connection to learn the road, where the rubber hits the road, and learn the skills, learn the training of how to work, because it's a two-way. Maybe a lot of people, I'm not sure about this particular audience, but a lot of people who are intuitive, who are open to the worlds of spirit, don't use those connections to their potential, because they don't understand the kind of conversations they can be having. That's what spirit tutor connection's about. Well, there you go. I hope that helps.
Thank you. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much for this clarity. And one thing I want to add, I loved what you mentioned, that especially for the 9 modules, so the spirit tutor connection, to come back to the modules, right? To come back to listen again. And yes, we can be sure that second time we'll probably think like, oh, I never heard this, so I never heard that. Was that there? Right? Probably even the 15th time, there's going to be more, because our ears, let's say, and our whole being evolves in their ability to receive. So with that, it's really a training for life. It's like an investment in a training that we're gonna be able to tap into. It is a treasure, and a treasure box, and we have our treasure box to return to for such a journey. And so I really love that. And also, one thing I love is I'm realizing how sometimes in our journey, sometimes we feel alone. And with our spirit tutor, we'll never be alone. We'll always have our companion. We can always go and meet with our spirit tutor and have, because we don't always have a human with whom we can have the profound conversations. And it's lovely when we do have humans to have those conversations. But even when we don't, or if they are not available, we can have those conversations and ask those questions to our spirit tutor, so we'll never be alone on our journey anymore. And I think, at least for me personally, that's a big that's a big thing. And yeah, I love it. Thank you so much.
Sophie, really, again, you've just touched and pinpointed something that's just so precious, and that's how I live my life. Most moments I am talking with them, and just like a person, like a human. I'm just, and many times throughout the day, I love just lying down on a couch or on a bed horizontal, because my mind quiets down much more. And it's in the quietness of your mind it's easier to have that two-way conversation. So I'll jump on my bed and calm down and feel their presence envelop my energy. Their energy cocoon will come around me. And oh my gosh, it's just so sweet. So sweet, their love and their wanting to catch up on a conversation or catch up on their query on something, and or if something's happened, I can just shoot them a quick query about something. It's just the greatest joy of my life, what you just said.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I think we can feel that and share it. Thank you for sharing that love, and we can certainly feel that. Thank you for making it available to all of us, offering us this possibility to have always our spiritual companion with us, and always have someone to talk to for those deep, profound conversations and questions and company. So, and thank you for offering this whole treasure and combination of these two wonderful programs. They come with a 2-payment option, even a 3-payment option, to make it really possible for everyone who is interested to answer the call, right? So make sure to go and check all the details on the special offer page. Now, I think we are so thirsty to get a taste. Now we've talked so much, you've offered so much already, but I think now we would really love to have an experience right now, Alicia. So you're going to lead us to meet our creator being spirit mentor. So if there's anything you want to share, please do so. And when you're ready to get started, please do so.
Okay, well, they immediately, Sophie, they're listening to you. They're immediately telling me that they are ready and they are excited to meet everyone. So let's begin. All right, everybody, just follow my words. And I always say, many of you are used to probably journeying into the worlds of spirit, but I always say use your pretend mode, use your imagination, because that is a video camera, that's a video screen or a TV screen that is a two-way TV screen. It's a two-way video screen. So if you start switching on your pretend mode or switching on your imagination, the worlds of spirit will begin to show you what's there. That's the most beautiful thing. If nothing else, please remember that for the rest of your life. Okay, everyone closing the eyes and taking a deep breath. Here we go. We're about to journey. This moment of taking a deep breath is very important because it just loosens up your soul self, your soul bodies from your human body, just loosens it a little bit, getting it ready for traveling. All right. So I would like you to imagine that next to you is quite a large column of golden light. And this we treat as an elevator. So I'd like you to step into that column of golden light and immediately begin to feel yourself being pulled upwards, like something is magnetizing you upwards. And we're not moving at hyper speed yet, but we're not going slowly either. We're just going at a medium speed, just traveling up nice and steady. And what I'd love you to do is switch on your imagination that you are actually moving. And you are moving through membranes of energy, almost dimensional membranes, like a lasagna of energy moving up and pushing up through another membrane and then pushing up through another membrane, switching on your imagination that this is happening, actively doing it, deliberately doing that, making it real. There's a moment where we think we're imagining it and then suddenly it's actually real. And especially when the worlds of spirit actually are quite close to us and they are pulling us up through these membranes, through these dimensional membranes. And every single time we're pushing up through an energy membrane, we're actually moving through a stargate into another dimension, into another space of light. I call them spaces. All right, so let's suddenly move fast. Let's go into hyperdrive. And I'd love you to imagine that you're moving so fast that it's a blur. So everything around you is a blur. It's so fast. I really need you to focus in on that. Focusing in, 100% focus. And you could almost get the sensation that you're pushing up through many dimensional membranes, but with that intensity of speed, like instantaneous speed. This is very, very important to be engaged right now, to be part of this moment of moving upwards, because we are actually escorted by an army of spirit beings of love and light who are helping us. And we're going to a very specific place in time and space, in the coordinates of time and space, in the matrix inside the energy worlds. So we're going to a very, very specific place. And so the speed, the movement, the sense of acceleration is very, very important, that your conscious self is connected to that. All right, everybody, moving up, moving up, moving up. And far above us now is like a sky of energy. It's like a plasma of energy, like a sky. Now we're coming up just below it and slowing down. And slowly, slowly, we are moving up through that plasma, through that layer of energy, pushing up through it slowly. And just coming to a nice soft standstill above that sky of energy. Just staying there for a moment. Holding still. This is the realm of the creator beings. We've actually pushed our way through many, 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 many dimensions. And we've got to the outer membrane of this spirit universe, not the physical universe, the spirit universe of this particular universe. The outer membrane of it, we've pushed out past it, and we're above it. And this is where the creator beings, that's their realm. That's where they are. Just quietening down, relaxing, enjoying the frequency, the light that's there. Allowing that light to soak into you. And coming towards you now is a very tall being of light. I personally am seeing an impression, and please just go with impressions or sensing, whatever it is that you're sensing. I'm getting an impression of a being with long robes, with quite a tall kind of something on its head, which is really tall. Some sort of a headpiece. And this being is standing in front of you now, very still, but it's sending its energy into you. This is a creator being. This is a being that wants to say hello to you. It wants to have a moment with you of love. Allow yourself to be connected with this being's energy. Allow yourself to feel the love from this being. This being knows you, understands you, your soul. I'm being told to say this being has been with you before in other existences, soul existences, not in human lifetimes, but higher, higher, higher soul existences. So they know your soul. They've been with it before. You might have been in this being's presence before, asking for permission to incarnate or to do something or to do a project in the worlds of spirit. So you might have interacted with this being before. And in fact, I'm being told there's a very high possibility. So this being knows you, worked with you before in some way. So step forward just gently. And if you feel to, only if you want to, you can lean forward gently and put your forehead to their forehead. Just a moment of acknowledgement of love. Now this being takes your hand and together you walk towards a semicircle of very similar beings. This is like a council of light, but your particular creator being stays with you as your focus point. And as you're standing now inside the semicircle of these beings with your main creator being, this is a moment where you get to ask for acceleration in your life. And what I'd love you to start with is to let this being know what changes you need in your reality. Now let's ask this being and give them permission to make some changes for you. You can say to this being, are you willing to commit to healing my soul wounds? And I'd like you to notice how this being responds. This being is probably immediately scanning you for your soul wounds to notice where they are, what they are. They're not going to start healing you in this moment, but they're taking an inventory. They're starting a checklist. So there's just a little pause here and letting them scan your beautiful soul and your soul history. This is a very important moment right now. They're telling me they're working very fast, just skimming to see what is happening in your soul history, taking note of that. The next thing I'd love you to speak to this being is, would you be willing to shift my life into higher soul expression? And again, instantly, this being is connecting with your soul bodies, looking at how fast you're capable of going, making some assessments. So there's an instant scanning moment taking place. They're taking a look at who you are as a soul, What kind of light does your soul hold? Where are you from as a soul? Not even in galactic terms or planetary terms, but even beyond this universe, maybe. Noticing what you are as a soul. So we've invited them to look at your soul wounds. Now we're inviting them to look at your, shifting you into your higher soul expression. And one last thing, a beautiful moment where you're in front of this beautiful being and you ask them, to something I love asking them, are you willing? You ask them, are you willing to accelerate my awakening? I'm going to just stay quiet for a moment and let you guys talk. You can keep asking questions and noticing how they respond to you. So I'd love everyone to take a deep breath. Thank your beautiful creator being that you can come back here, follow this replay, the recording of this replay, come back in front of this beautiful creator being and enjoy their presence, enjoy the company of this group of creator beings, and enjoy asking them more permissions, asking them for acceleration, asking them for healing. You can sometimes just come here, stand in front of this creator being, and invite them to pull out something that's causing you to feel down, something that's causing you to feel confused, something that might be causing you to feel emotional or angry or reactive in some way. Very quickly, so quickly, they will just reach in and pull out some shadow plasma, some some kind of an energetic fabric. They'll just pull it right out so quickly, comprehensively, in detail. They know exactly what they're doing. Just letting you know that there's different ways to work with this. So I'm just saying, use that moment, go back there, spend time in front of them, and yes, take the gift, receive the gift of that connection, that presence, and that skill and that speed. There's quite a lot of gifts there. Thank you, everybody, for coming with me on that journey. You can go straight back there once we finish this call. Just saying.
Mm. Mm. Thank you. Wow. What an experience. Just so delicious and such a rich experience. So everyone has their own, right? But one thing I would like to comment on is that, so as I go through the experience that you offered, Alicia, so I have my own experience, but I also have my antennas into the audience and picking up on what's going on with the audience. And what I noticed, and I really loved noticing this, is how there are two times when you mentioned acceleration. One is when we were traveling upwards and there's an acceleration at that moment. And I could pick up from in the hearts of the audience, there was such a joy, it felt like bubbly giggling, and I could see how maybe the head goes like, oh, brace yourself, like when you go on a roller coaster, and there we go, and it's like, oh, I don't know, but the hearts were so joyful, and I could feel this joy of the hearts at that moment of acceleration. And then later in the process, during the meeting, and when asking the creator being, would you accelerate, or are you ready? Are you willing to accelerate me or accelerate my journey? Again, there was in the hearts where having this giggling, bubbling, and cheering, like, yeah, let's do this. And well, it was very delicious for my heart to pick up on that. But my point, then it led me to something, to a realization, is that it feels and seems so very timely at this moment in time, when there's just so much going on in the world, obviously, and we can get so caught up in what our heads think, analyze, observe, and experience. And we may not hear the calling of our hearts to go into, yes, let's go into acceleration, let's go into soul expression, and let's get out of this noise of the head and tap into the heart, which expresses the soul's desire to accelerate. And now the point that came through is, now is a good time to accelerate, and we do need acceleration for ourselves and for, like, I believe I certainly would love to see many others around me who accelerate their soul awakening, and I believe that many others would like to see that as well. So there was an element of the timeliness of, well, the experience you offered today with this process, Alicia, but also with your special offer with this soul awakening acceleration, double acceleration package. It is so very timely.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Oh my gosh. No better time than now.
Yeah, I know, right?
But what you're talking, and sort of like what I want to touch on, is that the force fields flowing around Mother Earth, the force fields flowing through the collective of humanity. It's like dust getting kicked up. It's like distractions, but also dissonance. And what you're pointing to and speaking to is not so much let's wrap ourselves up in a cocoon of love, yes to that, but let's step onto an ocean liner of power, of love and light freedom, of huge, giant capability of holding you safe in the midst of the dissonance. So this is a very important moment. Absolutely. Just recently, I've been kind of using that analogy of a big ocean liner that comes and you're in the ocean and an ocean liner comes, but it's huge. And let's jump on it and take the hand that's being offered and the safety and the power and the capability. Because when we're standing in front of these creative beings and saying, are you willing to accelerate me? You see the power that then starts to respond because they have this power. It's like that ocean liner arriving with this huge power. And because you're standing in your power and you're saying, are you willing to come and get me? Yeah, it's huge. This is huge. I used to talk about the hand of King Kong, and that's how I used to feel in the very first few years. Well, I was getting used to the power of these beings, and I used to feel like I literally, like a King Kong hand had just pulled me up, and like being on that ocean liner, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, to your point, that at this moment when there's so much dissonance, it's not escaping it, it's grabbing the hands that are reaching down from the ocean liner and going, okay, let's enjoy and play with some powerful light right now.
Yeah. Let's rise to the occasion, because the occasion is there to rise. And one thing also that I'm sensing as you were talking just now is that when asking this question, are you willing to accelerate me? What I'm sensing is that even if our voice is trembling, even if we feel shy or we feel like, oh, do I even dare speaking the words, it doesn't matter if our voice is trembling. It's just our willingness to even if it's a whisper.
That's right. They will catch.
Right?
They will catch the tiniest willingness.
Right? We don't need to wait until we have a good, strong, powerful voice to ask the question, but the other way around. So yeah, I think it's some in the audience need to hear this and need to get this encouragement and this empowerment. It's okay to ask with a trembling voice and to be like, oh, would you take me? So yeah, I felt that was important.
So important. So beautifully said, Sophie.
Yeah, thank you. Well, just to wrap up before I give you the word of closing, if there's any more to be shared. So Soul Awakening Acceleration, the full package, go see all the details, all the content of this magnificent treasure of a package. You have the Spirit Tutor Connection package, 9 module, 9 treasures, and you have the Creator Being Acceleration. That's option 1, the full package. Option 2 is the Creator Being Acceleration. And you have a 2 payment option, 3 payment option, making it very easy to step forward and to jump on board and to rise to the opportunity. Now, before hearing your word of closing, Alicia, I want to remind everyone we meet again on Friday, November the 10th at 8 p.m. Pacific. Note the special time, it is 8 p.m. Pacific. for a Q&A galore live call. Alicia will answer your questions of collective interest about the creator beings, how to work with them, how to accelerate awakening, more any questions you have on these topics, how to strengthen your soul field, upgrade your life. Note that this call is entirely dedicated to insights, wisdom, and guidance for the collective. So this is not going to be a time of answering questions of individual focus, but I'm sure that there are many, many questions on our minds and in our hearts that need to be asked. So take this opportunity. If you can't be on the live call, make sure to write your question in advance, then catch up with the replay to receive Alicia's insights and wisdom. You'll have the link in the video description. Alicia, is there any word of closing you would like to offer? You've offered so much already.
Wow. I just want to say, excuse me. Oops. I just want to say what a vast, vast privilege it's been, really has been, to be part of this community, you know, you and Christel, and all the work that you guys do. And just thank you so much for the work that you guys do, really, genuinely. And just a thrill to be here and to present this opportunity to you guys as souls. It's the purpose of my life, really, is to find souls that are advanced, that are traveling along their journey of soul development, and to say, hey, there is speed available in healing, in acceleration, in increasing quotient of light, in awakening, in remembering, becoming that soul self, in maturing and developing yourself as a soul, even in this lifetime, acceleration in that. So very, very exciting for anyone who's hungry for that. And this is a very hungry audience. So huge, huge thank you for having me. And I'm very grateful. And these creator beings just want to say that anybody who shows up in front of them will be received. They're saying, we are what they are saying right now. We are waiting. We're waiting for those who know what this is. We're waiting for those who recognize what this is. We're waiting for anyone who wants to wake up quickly. And that's the truth. And they're saying that's real. And that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Let's take a moment. Let's take a moment to be present once again to the orb of grace. Allowing it to remain there and to hold us, to hold all that we have received and experienced today, all that we're not even yet aware that we have received, allowing it to settle in, to come to our awareness in its own time. Being held in the orb of grace for as long as it serves our highest good, our evolution, and the highest good of all. And I'm closing now by giving gratitude to each and every one of you in the audience. Thank you for answering yes to the calling of grace and to the calling of your soul to accelerate your spiritual evolution. I'm sure you can feel it in your heart. You can, maybe it speaks very loud, maybe it's a whisper, maybe it's a, may I do this? Thank you. Immense gratitude to you, wonderful Alicia Power, for all the wisdom, the brilliance, the offerings you have gifted us today, through all the graceful connections that have been woven with you and your masterful expertise and your whole team and tutors and creator beings. Thank you so much for blessing us with your presence today in the Orb of Grace.
Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, everyone. Just thank you for being in this vortex today. So appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And of course, yes, we want to give all our gratitude to Christel Hughes and the Academy for the Soul for offering this platform in which graceful connections grow and expand, impacting our lives, our environment, and the world at large, creating heaven on earth. Gratitude to the Orb of Grace for providing a safe, sacred space for this journey of exploration. Gratitude for all the grace we are blessed with at every moment, whether we are aware of it or not. It's offering all the nourishment, the nurturing, the healing, the revelations, the realizations that we open our hearts to receive. Gratitude to our higher selves and all the higher beings who guide, support, and protect us. And gratitude to the divine. Thank you. What a delicious time together. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Alicia. Until we meet again, many graceful blessings to you all. Thank you. Goodbye now.